According to the CDC, farming in the U.S. is among the most stressful occupations, with a suicide rate about 50% higher than the national average. Well, here at the Monitor, we've been highlighting this crisis, offering insights to reduce these numbers and support those in need. Last week, Sumter County Cattleman Matt Berry, a mental health advocate, shared his experiences with our Kenny Burgamy. In part two of that conversation, Matt and his wife Alicia discussed how injuries like the one Matt is recovering from can trigger depression, and how efforts to raise awareness and address mental health issues in agriculture simply begin by admitting it's okay to not be okay.
Being out here, does that help you deal with the stress that you have in your life?
Yes, sir. There's no better place on earth, to me, than being out here with the cattle every day and doing what we do. There's no more, to me, I can't say that for everybody, but there's no more peaceful place on earth than this. I mean, we can solve a heap of problems together, she and I, and it just gives me a perspective, if you will.
Are there enough resources, in your opinion, for farmers that are facing the stress, thinking of ending it all with suicide? Do you believe there's enough resources for farmers to reach out to get that help that they need?
I think we're getting there. We got to start somewhere. As an industry, I don't think people understand what we do. I don't think people understand what we face as an industry. They're trying, but this is not a problem that you can manage from the outside in. We've got to help each other. We got to reach out to our neighbor and say, hey man, you all right today? Or I notice you're kind of out of sorts. Everything all right? I think we're going to have to manage it within the industry to a certain degree, help one another, and then also help those people that are trying to help us understand what we do.
You talk about the different stresses, physical toll that farming takes on an individual. I see your arm. Tell us about that.
Well, this is a surgery that's related from an accident from years ago. It's just a recurring deal because of things going on in what we do for a living. Even with this, the operation continues every day. We don't get a light duty day. It doesn't go well. You know, if I was working in town, they say, oh, you go on light duty for 6-8 weeks, you'll be all right. No, that's not how it works. You're in the operation. Now, I'm fortunate my son and my wife, our youngest son, works with us every day. It puts a little more load on him, but he's okay with that, and we work it out, and I still got one good hand, and we'll keep on going. But it does play a part mentally and physically.
I know you're so super involved with Farm Bureau now with women's leadership. How important of a role does an organization like that play in what the support can be for people like yourself and for Matt?
Well, I think it has brought a lot of awareness to us since we've been doing all of these stress talks. We started with Mercer University and the survey that was handed out, and I think about 1,600 to 1,800 farmers actually responded to that. The numbers, even though I've been in healthcare for all these years, I knew that mental health, we're in a crisis for sure. I had no idea what the numbers were going to be like for farmers. It just never really crossed my mind, and it was really shocking when I saw the data. And I had no idea that farm spouses had thought about death by suicide. And it was only until, my husband told me that he had thought about it before. It shocked me. I had no idea. And I don't want other spouses to be, to come home and their husband tell them something like that. It's a good thing that they will tell them and they don't find out, that they've already done it. But that's kind of one of the things that I want to do with the leadership committee. I want to let other farm spouses know, what we need to do, how we need to be there, how can we be there, what programs do we need to get going, what kind of support do we need to have out there in place for our spouses and for our whole entire family.
What role has your faith, played in dealing with stress and just the challenges of what you do day to day?
Everything. I mean, there was a time in my life where I was embarrassed early on. I started this walk when I was trying to farm when I was young, late teens, and I was infantile in operation and infantile in my belief system at the time. I was embarrassed to say, God, I need you. Now that's the default. Is I know there's a plan in everything that goes on. Even with this, there's a plan. And whether it be how I handle the situation now, or whether he steers that vehicle another direction, I don't know what it'll be, but I'm listening, and I'm looking for the opportunities that'll come for it, because at the end of the day, farming, I forget who said it, but there's no greater leap of faith than agriculture and a farmer and a rancher. And I may have added some more words to it than he did or she did, but there is no greater leap of faith than what we do for a living. And faith plays everything, or plays a big part in everything I do every day. So without it, it'd be a whole lot worse than it is. And so it's everything.